1,269 installs.
$1.5 million in investment for new stock.
Over $5 million in revenue as a business. So,
welcome to this week's episode of Foxy TV. We are doing the financial year in review this week. Jake in all his glory talking about numbers. It's got to be his favourite episode of the year. All right, so let's get into it.
Okay, so for the 2024 financial year, and we've got the comparison numbers for 23, which we'll talk about as well. We did 1,269 installs across the year, which was another growth year for us. Previously, we did 1,054. So last financial year was the first year we hit over 1,000, and we've grown that again with no real increase in the capacity of the team in terms of trucks. We stayed at the same number. I don't know, we've just managed to, get more locked in, and as a team we've grown and increased our capacity internally.
I think the biggest difference between this year versus last year, there wasn't the market-related factors that really slowed down the start of what happened previously in the year prior. We have had a really, really good solid run. So when the interest rates started to change, that changed the market here in Brisbane, all of the 3-bedroom units, all those units and townhouses in Brisbane, for the first time people were making a good profit on those. So they were all started to sell. We then saw a whole heap of owner occupiers then hit the market straight after that. We are now into the new financial year. It's changed again, but there has been a solid run of properties just all the way through this year. Well, it's fluctuated within the year, but we started off with 26 and now we have 27. So that doesn't include us, does it?
No, it doesn't. Not the same 26. We definitely had some people leave. We've had a lot of new people as well. Depending on when it's not that the number fluctuates, every week, but within, a couple of months either side, that number was probably at 29 at one point. It was as low as 24 or 23 during the year. Maybe not quite that low, but it was, we go through phases. But we definitely, like I said before, we didn't get any additional trucks during this financial year, so we didn't have to increase the logistics team at that point. I think we increased a couple of stylists in marketing. I think we added one more during the year. So there's a few little things here and there, but across the board, essentially the same size team as we had the year before.
We've also got one member who's been on maternity leave for pretty much the whole year. We had another person who's taken a 6-month break and she's gone home to England for 6 months. Will be returning. So those types of things happening in between there as well. Okay,
so revenues increased again in line with the increased number of installs, but also some price increases throughout the year. The number this year, for the first time, we hit over $5 million in revenue as a business. So 5.2 million was where it ended up. Previous year was 3.7, which is a fairly significant increase. Like I said, a combination of an increase in number of jobs and revenue, and probably some other little things here and there. But for the most part, that's a very large or significant portion of that is driven by the property styling side.
Significant investment into stock this year. So compared to what happened the previous year when we had the slower start to the market, like I mentioned, we had a stockpile of stock happening here in the warehouse. So there wasn't really the need for us to purchase the stock, to replenish the stock that we had here. So we had a really good bulk of stock here. We had properties still selling. There was no need to be able to replenish that stock. This year though, obviously with the growth, we've had a significant increase in the level of property that we're now styling. So we're also wanting to go with some more prestige and luxury type pieces, some statement items. So it's gone from 1 mil last year and jumped up to $1.5 million in investment for new stock this year. I am very good at shopping.
I think a large portion of that was in the last couple of months as well, partly because of tax time, but also, spoiler, some of the things that we have coming up, we wanted to get in early, and investing in new stock was part of that.
All right, so this has again jumped up. All of these numbers should jump up. We've done more jobs, so you'd anticipate everything to jump up, right? So we previously had worked with 375 agents spread from the Gold Coast through Brisbane and then sort of Moreton Bay, Redcliffe region.
Just to clarify, 375 in a 12-month period. We've worked with a lot more since we started, but in that previous 12 months, 375 across that time.
So over this last year, we have now worked with an additional 188 agents, making it 423 agents that we've worked alongside this year. Now, I find something...
I'm going to pause you because somebody who's doing the math knows that doesn't add up. So 375 across a 12-month period.
Why'd you write that?
This 12-month period, 423. So a lot of those are the
375
same, but a lot are also different. So of the 423 we've worked for in the previous 12 months, or in this 12 months period, 188 of those are new. The difference is obviously the ones we've worked for before. So there's a lot of the majority are repeat agents, but there's also a good healthy number of new agents coming on board as well.
Now that is what I was about to get into.
Continue.
That aligns. I was just saying what you wrote on the paper. Yeah. See, I'm very good at just reading.
This is why I'm the numbers guy.
The number of new agents aligns with the fact that we are having more and more property owners reach out to us directly. So whilst our relationship with our agents are incredibly valuable, and they always will be, we are actually now in a position where owners are reaching out. I think this is also reflective of where styling sits in the market for Brisbane, in that it's now more of an accepted part of a marketing campaign. So these owners are reaching out. They are asking us to be involved prior to actually selecting an agent, and that's how we're being introduced to these new agents and agencies. So totally in alignment with that, and I think that's only going to increase in number.
Well, there's probably a few. I think some of these...
Do the top one first.
We kind of...
Jake's notes.
We touch on the same sort of things every year, I feel like, but there's a couple that stand out that maybe we haven't said previously. One is related to what you just said, but it's also not just the home sellers, but agents. We get a lot of... Well, all of our inquiry, all of our work is now inbound. And I think that's, and to answer your question, what's impressed me is the impact that our marketing has had, the marketing strategy, the long-term kind of impact of that. We've been putting out videos and content. We've had full-time marketing people for a number of years, 5 years, I think, 5.5.
So to clarify what Jake means when he's saying it's inbound, there is no cold calling, there is no scripts, there aren't any need. There's no need for any of that. Also, there is still relationship building, and there's still all of that, but there's no introducing ourselves to agencies to try and scope out that new work.
Yep. Whereas when you're starting out, and when we started out, we did a lot more of that.
Yep.
So yeah, what's impressed me is that we continue to grow, we continue to do more work, and all of that is work coming to us based on our brand, our reputation, word of mouth referrals, and that to me is all around marketing.
I think something really significant for both of us was the conference that we put on.
Australian Home Surgeon Conference.
This year. That was our inaugural conference, and it was a huge success. The buzz that we felt afterwards, having everybody in the same room, everyone not walking and not knowing what to expect, and then being totally blown out of the water. We honestly couldn't have expected a better outcome or a better turn, like anything. That conference was above and beyond what we could have ever expected.
Yep.
And we set the bar extremely high for next year.
Yes.
But that is in the works. But yeah, the conference, even of what content, the connections that you made, the amazing feedback that we received, seeing the team come together at the conference itself, but also what the team did. We were still operational during that time on the Friday, and what the team, they just operated perfectly in the background.
I guess the other one, we touched on this last year, but I think it continued, is that Phoebe and I took more time off in the last 12 months than, and I think this is probably the last 18 months, but September last year, we were away for a long period. We had the conference. We had some other things in the first.
Oh, that's in that financial year. That's dumb.
So we took a lot of time off that we normally or previously
Well, we take
haven't.
December off every year.
Yep.
And we went on the cruises. Managed to take
but
time.
Normally, when we take time
family.
off, it's in our quieter periods. Whereas in the last 12 months, we took a few. I mean, one of them was in spring, busiest time, and we took a week away.
Yeah, we went to
were
Fiji,
overseas, so we didn't even have signal for most of the time. It impressed me, the team, what they were. They stepped up, what they were able to look after and handle for us.
I feel like this is like every year, the same conversations happened at the conference.
Yep.
And I really honestly don't think it's a fear, even in this industry. It just matters. It's the same for business owners worldwide. People and your staff are the hardest part. You just feel like you're getting it right, and then everything just falls apart, and it just feels well oiled, and then things just fall away. So getting multiple times throughout this financial year, we're like, yes, got it. The team are great. They're amazing. And then 2 days later, things change. There's a resignation. But the team's ability to then pick up and not actually have any downfall from having somebody leave, that's 100% credit to them.
I would say as well, the challenges of people is a little different, or was a little different in the last 12 months than maybe we've had before. And it's more to do with the senior level, the management level of people, asking more and more of them, so helping them become the sort of level of leaders that can help Phoebe and I do less, be less involved in certain things, take time away, would be, the whole work on your business, not in your business sort of thing. Like that's been something that we've struggled at times to do just because we're so involved all the time. So I think the challenge this year, and will continue to be a challenge, is bringing the next level of people up, taking on more responsibility for the things that we currently look after, and free us up to do other things and look for the next level of Foxy.
Well, that's a doozy.
Oh, good segue, isn't it?
All right, so this is an easy one.
Yeah.
Obviously, just touched on it before, the conference. We've booked it in for the end of February, and we are going to get ticket sales up and going. I've said that twice in the last 2 weeks, but we are going to have them up and going. Making that conference supersede what happened last year.
Huge
this
first year, so it's
we've got to make it bigger and better.
Yep.
If you've got any comments for speakers.
Suggestions, requests. Yep. The next one is, this is probably the first time in our 7 years of business, 7+ years, that we're now looking to say we don't just want to grow in what we're already doing, we want to start doing new things. So the next 12 months in particular is going to be basically expanding Foxy and what Foxy does.
Yeah.
So we have a number of service offerings we're looking at. We won't, I guess, go into all of them now because we haven't announced all of them, but we are internally looking at our team, at our resources, at our facilities, and basically getting ready for the next phase, which is going to include new things that Foxy doesn't currently do.
Yep.
And a new brand, a new related brand in a similar sort of position that we want to just do different but related things.
Yeah.
Anything to add there? I was trying to be a little bit vague.
Yeah, well, I'm being vague. But obviously those announcements are to come. But it's about not having all our eggs in the same basket, and also having things that make our team stay invested and interested in their role here. So having things that take people from one strength to another and give them the opportunity and grow and learn, and not have a glass ceiling. So that's not just for our staff, but for us as well. So that's extremely exciting. We also have our inventory system, which should be up and live. We had that specifically designed for how we need an inventory system to operate, alongside a specialised scheduler. So that's going to be extremely exciting to have that roll out and see the impact that has here on the business. We've got 2 trucks coming. Mm-hmm.
A few months
September.
away, yep. Which will increase what we can do, and add to some of these other things that we're looking at.
Yeah, I look forward, every single year I look forward to seeing all the different properties we get to style and all the different people we get to meet and relationships we get to make along the way.
And we also...
Breaking news.
I don't think we've announced this anyway, aside from internally, all the team knows. We are adding another warehouse to Foxy, where we've got a double the size warehouse, twice the size, about 2 minutes from where we are right now. It's currently getting ready for us to move in the coming months, and that's going to increase what we can do. We've outgrown this space Foxy has, so we need more space. We're going height at the new warehouse where we've got a lot more room.
We're also in a position now, which it's taken us 7 years to get to this position, but to be able to get custom solutions to the issues that we face every day. So whether or not be how to store your rugs better, how to transport your art from the rack over to the selection bay, how to actually to make everything more efficient and just to run smoother and to be stored better. So how to store the artwork and how to make sure that nothing gets scratched, all those sorts of things. We are really excited that we are in a position now to actually put some thought into how that can happen. What we've done now has worked for us for 7 years, but there are definitely improvements to be had, and we can't wait to share all of those with you either. So welcome to this episode of I was going to call Foxy TV Chat. These things are confusing me.
Try again.
I don't normally talk into these ginormous big things. What else refers to you, Mitchell?
You hired me, so...
In this financial year, feels like you've been here longer than Morgan. Morgan was here for a year last year. Last week.
Just outside of it.
You're outside of it. Sorry.
I was going to write that. I wrote that down.